Okay, if string theory is correct, and there are an infinite number of parallel universes, there might be a universe where I have the Dragon Balls, and I can use those Dragon Balls to make a wish that can affect this universe. So with that being said, hear me, almighty Shenron. I summon you to grant my wish. Bring my friend back to life. Okay? Make me a magical girl. Well, there goes my 2020 plans. Hi everybody, welcome to Let's Talk Anime. I'm Derangerous, and remember back in Season 2 when I talked about Dragon Ball? Yeah, fun times. That was back then when we can go outdoors and do fun shit. But times have changed, people have changed, and sometimes some people have come and gone due to the mysterious force that is life. After all, why else do you think I'm trying to reach out to me in a different parallel universe to bring forth a wish to bring a certain person back? But you know what doesn't change? High quality anime. And since we're talking about high quality anime, let's talk about basically one of the greatest anime of all time. Sword Art. I can't say it with a straight face. That anime is trash.
You all know it.
But nah. I'm here to talk about Dragon Ball Z, okay? No anime has a unique franchise as Dragon Ball Z. Okay, that anime is literally the flagship of our streaming service that we're focusing on today, Funimation. Okay, no other anime would have existed if it wasn't for the things Dragon Ball Z did. Listen, like it, love it, hate it, marry it, divorce it, pay alimony to it, whatever you say, you can do whatever. Still not gonna change the fact that it is the greatest series ever made. So, since we did talk about Dragon Ball last season, let's talk about the Z. Haha, you thought I was gonna say the D. Oh hey, I said the D! To understand Dragon Ball Z, we gotta talk about its creator. But we've already spoken a lot about Akira Toriyama and his nerdy ass. So instead, we're gonna be focusing on something else. We're gonna talk about the dubbing history of Dragon Ball Z. Now, I know there are people out there who prefer subs versus dubs. Listen, I prefer dubs versus subs, but you might want to actually sit down and hear this because this is some really crazy shit. To understand the dubbing process of Dragon Ball Z, you gotta understand Dragon Ball's dubbing process. You see, to begin, Dragon Ball came to the United States before Dragon Ball Z. I know what some of you all are thinking,
but I remember Toonami showing Dragon Ball Z before Dragon Ball.
Well, that happened, but it's wrong. Dragon Ball was actually dubbed in the United States between the years of 1989 and 1990. It was done by a company called Harmony Gold. Now, take note, this was the 1990s, and localization was kind of the zeitgeist at the time when it came to dubbing anime. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you all know how I feel about localization and fucking 4Kids. They did a whole bunch of name changes, like, you know, changed Goku's name to Zero and a bunch of other things. It was not good, only lasted 5 episodes. But one thing they did change actually lasted and stayed with the current dub of Dragon Ball Z. Roshi. You see, in the Japanese dub, he's known as Muten Roshi, and in the English dub, they call him Master Roshi, which is a bit redundant once you understand Japanese words, but that's beside the point. Fun fact about this dub, you had Wendy Lee voicing Bulma, and you had Barbara Goodson voicing Goku. I repeat, Barbara Goodson, aka the voice of Rita fucking Repulsa from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, was the voice of Kid Goku for a time. So yeah, that English dub of Dragon Ball pretty much was sucking a lot in the United States. And we pretty much assume that, the whole franchise is just going to be dead in the water and it will have zero appeal in the United States 100%. Enter Nagafumi Hori. Nagafumi Hori is a producer for Toei, and he advocated, hey, let's give Dragon Ball one more chance. I believe my nephew can take it off and make it something good, okay? Nagafumi put a lot of faith in his own nephew. Now, who's his nephew? His nephew is just some businessman named Gen Fukunaga. Mr. Fukunaga had a little company. It was a small company. It wasn't that big of a deal. And in case you're wondering, it was fucking Funimation, baby! Funimation, okay? This was his nephew's company. And it was small back then, okay? But with Dragon Ball, it was going to literally be the seed to make it explode into something even greater. Now, again, Mr. Fukunaga is a very unique man. He's a pretty good businessman, and he also helps run a Christian broadcast station with Rick Santorum. I'm not making this shit up. I wish I could make this up. I really do wish I was making this up. But Gen Fukunaga, okay, CEO and founder of Funimation, okay? The same Funimation that produces English dubs of Panty and Stocking Was Garter Belt, Burst Angel, Dragon Ball Z, High School DxD, and for a short time, Interspecies Reviewers, okay? That man works with Rick Santorum. You know, Rick Santorum, the guy who spent an uncomfortable amount of time talking about gay sex despite being anti-gay. Rick Santorum. Dragon Ball went okay, but then Dragon Ball Z is what really took off. But to do Dragon Ball Z, Fukunaga decided to outsource voice actors up in Canada. So, this became known as the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z. You know, the one where Vegeta goes, "It's over 9,000!" Also, speaking of the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z, it's also famous for having one of the greatest Dragon Ball Z theme songs, Rock the Dragon, which was actually performed by Ron Wasserman. And in case you don't know who Ron Wasserman is, just listen to the theme song of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So yeah, Power Rangers and Rick Santorum. Now, a fun fact about Dragon Ball Z, especially with the Ocean dub, is the voice actors, because some voice actors had problems voicing some of the characters because, you know, if you watch Dragon Ball Z, you know there's a lot of yelling. Yeah. And sometimes they weren't being paid to do the yelling. So, voice actors had to, be swapped out constantly. Take Goku, for example. Goku was originally voiced by Ian James Corlett, who was known for being the voice of Mega Man and Cheetor. Then, at one point, Corlett stepped down from being Goku and passed the role over to Peter Kalamis. Peter Kalamis is known for being the voice of Rolf from Ed, Edd n Eddy. So yes, at the time, Goku was the son of a shepherd. Then, at one point, he stepped down and then Goku became voiced by Kirby Morrow. He's the third voice actor to voice Goku. And if you don't know who Kirby Morrow is, Kirby Morrow was also the voice of Cyclops from X-Men Evolution, as well as he was the voice of Miroku from Inuyasha. Inuyasha still sucks, you know. Dragon Ball Z's popularity was really taking off well. And people kept wondering, hey, Funimation, why don't you dub more episodes of Dragon Ball Z? And then they thought, yeah, we could do that, but it costs a lot of money to outsource these voice actors from Canada. And then someone suggested, okay, here's a good idea. So what if we got the voice actors in the United States? We actually use our own country for voice actors instead of outsourcing a different country. Now that's a really amazing idea, and that is like $1 million idea right there. I don't know why we didn't think of this. That's exactly what happened. I think. It happened in my head. To continue, this was a major success, and to this day, Dragon Ball Z has been having the same consistent voice actors upon all different platforms in terms of video games, anime, just everything, okay? Now, there's so much more about the dubbing history about Dragon Ball Z I can go into, but just know that in Japan, Goku is voiced by an 80-something-year-old woman, while Goku in the United States is voiced by a lot of people. Alright, so let's talk about the plot. Now, when most people think Dragon Ball Z, they keep saying, oh, it's just senseless fighting. There's no plot, there's no story, it's just people yelling, screaming, and fighting. Well, you know what? You are uncultured swines who don't understand true taste in anime. It's more than just fighting. I mean, yes, a lot of the plots are revolved around fighting, but there's a lot of story behind it. There's character arcs, growth. There's so much richness within the whole franchise that people who say it's just fighting, or people who have no clue, or who only watch one episode and didn't even give the series a fair shot. Understanding the plot of Dragon Ball Z is not hard. All you gotta do is understand each saga and then you're good to go. And lucky for you, your boy Derangers here, that's me, has a well thought out, written down summary that's spoiler free of each saga. So, let's start off with the Saiyan saga. Two douchebags come to Earth trying to blow it up. The saga on Namek, where an autocratic real estate agent engages in slavery and genocide and tries to blow up the planet. The Android/Cell saga, one of the greatest ones, okay? And this one is so unique. Get ready, okay? A perfect bug is trying to blow up the planet, but this time you've got robots or cyborgs. It's cool. Then finally, you've got the Boo saga, you know, where Pink Stretch Armstrong tries to, get ready, fight the strongest person in the world. And he also blows up planets. So let's talk about the characters, shall we? Now, we've talked about Goku in Dragon Ball, but he's much different in Dragon Ball Z. He's more mature. He is a genius when it comes to fighting, and he is basically the anime version of Homer Simpson. Next up, there's Goku's biological son, Gohan. Gohan is not like his dad. I mean, he has his genes. That's pretty much it. And the Go part in the name. But Gohan is very different. He doesn't want to be a super cool fighter like his dad. He wants to be a smart person. He actually wants to be a high-functioning member of society with a job and a steady income. But he can fight. And he is very, very good at fighting. And it's thanks to his dad that he's a good fighter. Piccolo, our next character. Now, I know this is kind of strange. Back in Dragon Ball, Piccolo was a villain, and now he's a huge ally. He's a big-time ally. In fact, he's like one of the best characters in the series. Another fun thing about Piccolo is he has some of the coolest names for some of his attacks. Like, you know, the Destructive Wave, or the Hell Zone Grenade, or the Special Beam Cannon. It looks cool, okay? It looks cool. Don't judge me. Next up, you've got Tien and Chaozu. Tien is one of the most serious people in the whole series, and Chaozu is there for moral support. That's it. Next up, you've got Vegeta. You know, the angry guy with the Napoleonic complex, in which he desperately needs a hobby. His whole goal is to beat Goku, but little does Vegeta know, he has already beaten Goku at Parenthood. Next up, you've got Krillin. Krillin is Goku's best friend. Back in Dragon Ball, Krillin used to be a total shithead. I mean, he was a brat. He was like perverted. He was just so wrong. But over time, and in Dragon Ball Z, he's become a completely different person. He's nice, he's kind, he's just such a good guy. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, he goes into fights and most likely he will lose. But you know what? Krillin has this tendency to just surprise you, okay? He is the most human character in the whole series, and he knows that, but he does not let that stop him. He just tries his best, and he will shock you. And it's awesome when he shocks you because he'll do something that you'll never see coming. Man, Krillin kicks ass. And last, but certainly the least, is Yamcha. And oh baby, I have been waiting to rip into him. You see, back in Dragon Ball, Yamcha used to be a badass, okay? He did like Wolfang Fist, his Super Spirit Ball, his Kamehameha. He was a cool character, a bandit, and then, became Bulma's love interest, and everything was going great. And then Dragon Ball Z happened. And when that happened, Yamcha got shat on a lot, okay? Yamcha is by far the weakest character in the whole series, okay? Honestly, I'll even say this. I sometimes think Mr. Satan can beat Yamcha. Krillin going into a fight is unique because you never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen if Krillin is fighting, okay? Maybe he'll lose. Maybe he'll do something that no one saw coming, okay? If Yamcha goes into a fight, he's basically Sean Bean. He's gonna die or get injured. He ain't gonna contribute. All Yamcha is halftime entertainment, as Team 4-Star would put it. Now, Dragon Ball Z has had a plethora of really cool movies that's come out over the years. Like, you can't say no to some of these movies. Like the time they fought Garlic and the Spice Boys, or the time they dealt with asparagus and broccoli, or the time they dealt with a guy who was cooler and he was using the power. Oh God, hold on. This is just... Okay, listen everybody. I can tolerate a lot of things, okay? I can really tolerate a lot of things, but there's some things I just don't like, okay? This is one of those instances where I kind of wish localization fixed this. In one of the Dragon Ball Z movies, okay? They're dealing with a guy who is cooler, but he is using the power of something called the Big Getty Star. I repeat, it is called the Big Getty Star. Okay, who the fuck thinks that's a really good idea? Hey, you wanna know what's a cool name for the star? What? What could be cooler than the Makio Star? Let's call it the Big Getty Star. I mean, come on, that's a fucking stupid name. The Big Getty Star, okay? Now I see why Team 4-Star made fun of this, okay? The Big Spaghetti Star, the Big Ghetto Star. Why not just call it the Big Machinery Star? Or just something better than So anyway, but despite all of that and all the craziness of me going on these rants about certain names and characters, this series is still one of the greatest anime series ever made. I mean, you can't say no to a series that is heavily referenced by every anime series in some way, shape, or form. Dragon Ball Z's popularity is so massive. You've got so much parodies of it, to the point where you've got Seth Green of Robot Chicken voicing Goku. And who can forget Dragon Ball Z Abridged? This is the series that literally reignited the love of Dragon Ball in hundreds, if not millions of people by parodying it. And it's still amazing to this day. This series even created one of the greatest debates out there. Who would win the fight, Goku versus Superman? In which I would like to say that Superman would just destroy Goku, but we're not gonna go into that whole discussion now. But overall, Dragon Ball Z is one of those anime series that have been remastered, remade so many times, and it doesn't get old. You can expose kids to Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Z Kai or any of the remastered versions of the series, okay? And it is still 100% relevant today, even better than some of the current series. Sword Art Online. This episode was for a friend of mine, and wherever he is and wherever he's watching, I'm pretty sure he's looking at me from heaven with King Kai, only to say Goku beats Superman, in which I would like to retaliate. Goku cannot do shit against Superman, and I've got evidence and numbers to back that up. So you wait, okay? When I meet you again in the next life, we're finishing this debate. So yeah, that was another fun-filled episode of Let's Talk Anime. As usual, I am your host, Dare Ranger Russ. If you like this episode, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and if you're on YouTube, please hit the bell icon. That way, you get notifications of new episodes, and maybe somewhere down the line I make that sweet YouTube money. And tune in next time where, I don't know, let's do a top 10. Let's have some fun with this. Until then, peace out. Okay, Shenron, come on, one more time. One more time, Shenron, please. I just want to tell him, just for one last second, that Goku cannot beat Superman. Is it really that hard? Dang it. I hate 2020.